Hey guys, what's going on? It's Blade again from Car Security, and today we're looking at this new Alpine head unit, the iLX-705D. Okay, so the iLX-705D, this is one of the new high-end units from Alpine with a 7-inch screen. Now, this has a lot of spec in it. You've got Apple CarPlay, which is wireless, Android Auto, which at the moment isn't wireless, unfortunately. You've got DAB radio, Bluetooth streaming, hands-free calls, HDMI input and output. You've got loads and loads of specs. So let's open up the box and we'll see what you get inside. Okay, so the box is unpacked. Now, there's quite a lot in here, to be honest, mainly because the unit is a singled-in chassis. Now, majority of the time when you've got a doubled-in unit with a doubled-in body, you've got a lot more space for connections on the back. Now, this being singled-in aids in helping you fit it easier, but it limits the amount of space for connections. So they've done a lot of plug-on wires set up. So I'll show you what comes in the box. So over here, we have one of the first plugs. So this has a direct connection on the back of the unit with multiple inputs. So you have dash cam inputs, reversing camera, a drive recorder input, L input, and you've got a speed pulse, I believe, wire just there as well. But you've got this bag here, so that has the clamp to hold your HDMI cables in, and that screws in place along with a few other screws, so if you're mounting it into a cage or something like that. Microphone, so that's your hands-free mic, so plug it into the back of the unit, run it up to your sun visor or headlining. That's going to allow the person on the other line to hear you, basically. GPS antenna. Now, because you're using wireless CarPlay or even wired CarPlay or Android Auto, you will need the GPS to give you a more accurate location for your maps. Your RCA inputs. So again, on a connection for the back of the unit, you have front, rear and subwoofer outputs, and these are 4-volt outputs as well, so good voltage on the outputs. This one is for your steering wheel controls, your microphone, and this is HDMI remote. And last on the connections is your main power harness. So you'll have ISO to direct connection on the back of the unit, and then the one thing to remember on the Alpine units is the main loom comes de-pinned in terms of these bullet connections here. So you need to make sure you plug them together, otherwise the unit's not going to turn on. Last two things, you have the instruction manual. Make sure you read through this if you get stuck. Majority of the time this is going to help you. And then you have the trim rings that sits around the side of the stereo when you're finished fitting it. Then we have the unit itself. So this is the unit. Now, when you come to it, you're going to have this screen protector on there. Everyone loves taking these off, so let's do it together. Ooh. Okay, so looking around the unit as it is before we turn it on. So to quickly go through it, you have a 7-inch capacitive HD screen. So it's a 720p screen. The only reason why I've not gone for 1080p is purely for the size of it. You can't really fit that many pixels in this size in a 7-inch. Along the bottom you have all your button controls. So we'll go through them in a second on what they do, but nice big clunky buttons. So you're not ever gonna find yourself trying to search for touch buttons and stuff like that. So if you prefer the button layout, I personally quite like this, so it's definitely something that I would look for. Now going to the side of the unit, as I've already explained, it is a singled-in chassis, doubled-in face. So this will help you in terms of fitting it. So if you fitted the stereo before, you'll probably know if you've got all these bunch of wires and all that other stuff there, you're trying to cram it in and it's getting stuck behind the unit, all you'd need to do is pop it on top. That makes life a lot easier. Now, on the back of the unit, as you've already probably seen, we've got a long dual USB extension. So that's going to go around to your glove box or wherever you'd like to fit it. But one is for data and one is for charging. So you've got dual USBs there. Now the rest of the unit, on the back, you have your HDMI in and out. So pretty new function on these. So HDMI in is going to be, obviously, if you're mirroring your phone, for instance, through an HDMI adapter or a Amazon Fire Stick or a PlayStation, whatever you want to do. HDMI into this screen, and then for instance if you're running a separate screen in the back of the car, for instance, you can then stream whatever's on this screen to the rear screen through the HDMI out. So that's very handy. Now that's your main power connection for the harness we spoke about earlier. This is your fan to keep the unit cool, and then these are the three main plugs for the inputs and outputs, which we had to look at earlier. You've got your GPS connection, the DAB antenna connection, that is going to be your microphone connection most likely, and then that is your FM antenna connection. So it's pretty simple on the back of the unit. Everything else is just plug and play. But let's go through the features. We'll get the unit on. We'll go from there. Okay, so let's quickly test the startup time. So I'm going to plug the unit in here in 3, 2, 1, connected. So this unit should have a pretty quick startup time. You're greeted with this nice Alpine logo here. And any minute now, there we go. So it's already started up. So one of the quicker units to start up here. And this is the home screen that you're greeted with. So it will show you all your apps and widgets that are available. And then the ones that are grayed out are the ones that aren't currently connected. So to quickly go through it, you have radio. So that will be your FM and DAB. So you can switch between FM, AM, and DAB up here. This button here is your home button. So that's to go back to the widgets. This is a USB. Obviously, if USB is connected, that will show up. HDMI is always going to show up because, well, that's how they've done it. The HDMI is always nice and bright. Auxiliary is if you're running any kind of auxiliary video or audio input. Bluetooth audio, click on there, you can pair your phone, go into phone settings, and then search for a new device. This unit will search for your device rather than you having to search for it, so it makes life a bit easier. And then you have main Bluetooth settings to adjust volume and stuff like that. Now down the bottom, these will always stay the same. You have your phone functionality. So when your phone is paired, it will show you your contacts and a phone book, that kind of thing. Apple CarPlay Android Auto, again, is grayed out. We'll show you that working in a second. And then setup is over here. This will go through all your settings. You can go through Bluetooth settings again, like the other one. You can go into function. So you can change the CarPlay settings, HDMI settings. There's loads and loads of settings you can go through. System settings, how loud you want the unit to be, that kind of thing. And then if you swipe down from the top here, or click on the top, sorry. This is very cool. This is a voltage meter, very accurate. So it's going to give you the voltage currently of the vehicle. Okay, so over to the left here, you have the media expander. So that's essentially just going to brighten the audio, make it a bit louder. But obviously the more you put in there, the more distortion you may find at higher volumes. So just be careful with that. This will go up to 3, as you can see. And you come back out. Over this side, you have the bass engine. So this will essentially change pretty much the EQ setup of the sound on the vehicle. But you can change between standard, mid bass, rich, low bass, punch, and off. So the majority of the time it's going to be changing the bass output, so either from your door speakers or from your subwoofer, but it will change the EQ as well. Now talking of EQ, you have a full parametric EQ which you can adjust. So you can change the frequency down here. Let's say I want to change 100 Hz frequency, and then we want to change that to plus 2 dB. Now if you want to change to a higher frequency, so let's say 2K Hertz, you can change by clicking band here. Just scroll through it, keep going, you get to 2K, and then you can give that a plus or a minus dB. And then if you want to pull that back a bit, let's make that 1.6K, you can do that as well. So very, very good parametric EQ, which is definitely for more of the audiophile guys. If you know what you're doing, you can get that audio to sound very, very nice. You obviously have fader and balance, so you can play around with that. Crossover, very, very important. Again, change the frequency down here, change your slope here, so you can cut off the bass, and you can change the actual level of that. You can turn the frequency, turn the dB down on that. You have presets which you can save down here. So if I go preset 1, 2, or 3, it's going to be flat, but you can then also set it flat as well. And you can change from high pass, front low pass, rear high pass, and rear low pass. And then you also have time correction. So that's going to be setting the sound stage up for the vehicle exactly how you want it. So loads and loads of audio settings on this unit. As Alpine are very known for their high quality audio, you can definitely get exactly what you want out of it. Also, you have quick settings down here for just normal bass and treble if you don't want to go too far into it. So you don't have to be an audiophile to use this unit. Just quickly go through the functions of the buttons down below. They're pretty self-explanatory, but I'll explain them anyway. You've got voice control here, so when your phone is connected for CarPlay or Android Auto, your voice control activation will work through this as long as it is turned on your phone. So you just click that, and then say, hey Siri or hey Google, and it will use the voice command if you want to send a message or use it for navigation purposes. Now this is your volume up and down, pretty self-explanatory. That's your mute button. This is the source button, so this will go through all your different sources. Keep clicking it and it will go through. This is your home button, as I've already explained. That is your camera button, so if you have a reverse camera hooked up, you click that and it will go into your camera view. This is your skip tracks and forward rewind, and then this is navigation. So obviously this unit doesn't have built-in navigation, but the navigation from your CarPlay or Android Auto, you click that and it will go straight into it. Okay, so we're just going to quickly test the Android Auto. Now, as I've mentioned on this unit so far, it is not wireless, so you will need to connect it via USB. Now, I'm sure they'll be coming out with one in the future with that, but let's just try this quickly. So we'll connect it via USB. That's connected to the data port USB on the back of the unit. We'll charge my phone at the same time, and you'll quickly see it will come up with Android Auto. And then just let it load up, and then we are in Waze. And then you can come out of Waze, go into Spotify, find a song you want to play, all your different playlists will be there. Then you can come back out, go into Waze or your phone book. You can even play games on Android Auto, bit of fun. So if you're sat there waiting for someone, you can play a game if you want to. Okay, so we're going to quickly show you how to wirelessly connect the Apple device to the Alpine to use Apple CarPlay. So what you'll first need to do is pair the device via Bluetooth. Now we've already done that. So if you just go into settings, and not Wi-Fi, sorry, settings, device list, you should have the device here. And then if you disconnect and reconnect, and then you'll have the option to click on Apple CarPlay. Do that, click OK. And then it will take a second, but it will connect. So iPhone connected, so you can go back home. And then we go Apple CarPlay, wirelessly connected. Play your music, go into your maps. Go through all your different apps, whatever you need to do, it's all there ready to go. Now obviously this is available wired as well, so if you want to charge the phone and use the CarPlay, you can connect it wired via the lightning cable that comes in the box with the phone. Just plug it in and it will charge the phone. That's it. Okay, so we've pretty much gone through the main features of the unit. We've shown you it on, we've shown you how it looks like. Now I'm going to quickly reel off a few of the main features of the unit, including some of the detailed spec. Now I can't go and read off everything because this unit has so much in it. So if you're looking for a full description on all of the spec in the unit, make sure you hit the link in the description. That will bring you to our website, which will have all the description and the spec on that. But let's go into it. So some of the main specs on the unit are, it has a 4x50 watt Class D built-in amplifier, 3 4-volt RCA outputs, HDMI input and output, 2 USB ports, LDAC supported Bluetooth streaming, and a 720p HD capacitive touchscreen. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've gone through the main specs of the unit, we've turned it on, we've shown you CarPlay working and whatnot. So it's a very, very good, very comprehensive unit. Price point is pretty decent as well. It's currently at $699.99. That'll be in our link in the bio. Make sure you check it out on our website. So this unit is also available in a custom fit E46 setup, so BMW E46. This unit is called the iLX-705D. This unit's definitely for someone that knows what they're doing, audiophiles or someone that has had a kind of high-end unit before. You've got a lot of settings you can go into. You can obviously stream very high quality audio through this, but it's not difficult to use. Some of their older units can be a little bit complicated. This is definitely made a bit easier. So that's very, very good. But that's pretty much it for me. Make sure you like, share and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Yeah. Sick of this game.